second movie I watched was Ride Along. Now this movie was one that I thought looked pretty funny. From the trailers, it looked pretty good. It was starring Kevin Hart and Ice Cube, two guys I really like, uh, especially Kevin Hart, who's been becoming like a big rising star as we speak. Like he's in almost every fucking comedy in the next few months. It's kind of crazy, but for a guy like him to be doing that, that's pretty cool. I mean, he started off as like kind of a struggling comedian. Now he's a big name, and it's really cool to see somebody as talented as he is make it. And this movie looked pretty funny. I mean, I was like, this could be cool. Ice Cube and Kevin Hart from the trailers looked like they were gonna have good chemistry. I mean, Ice Cube is funny when he can be. He's. I mean, I like the barbershop movies. Of the Friday movies I've seen. He's pretty fucking funny. I definitely would say Are We There Yet and Are We Done Yet are not very good movies, but and those are two movies that are not very good of his. But he's a guy I really like, and I think he can play. He can be very funny, like I said. And like I said, I was kind of looking forward to this, and usually with doing these reviews, if you haven't watched my reviews, I usually say I hate doing reviews of comedies because either a movie's funny or it isn't funny, and it's really hard to talk about a movie without spoiling. Especially if it's a funny movie, like the good jokes, and you don't want to spoil them. But as far as this movie goes, I thought this movie was alright. I was kind of disappointed. I definitely like Devil's Due a little bit better than this one. I'm kind of in the same boat with this movie as I was with Devil's Due, but at the same time, I probably would say with this movie, I would only recommend maybe renting it for $1, not seeing it in the theater. It's not worth it. I'm sure people are not going to listen to me anyways and watch this because people are big fans of Kevin Hart, but it's an alright flick. I also kind of this movie's kind of hard to review because I have a hard time deciding whether I should maybe go see this again because my theater experience was not exactly great. I was sitting in front of a guy who is the worst person I've ever had in a movie theater during a comedy. This guy would be like, like laughing like really loudly, and then like what's the scene where Kevin Hart would be like I dumped the water. Kevin Hart was talking about when he accidentally uh, almost blew up Ice Cube with the barbecue roll that Ice Cube has. And he's like, I poured water on it. And the guy's like, he said he poured water on it. Like, the whole movie, you'd have to repeat the fucking joke. And you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. You mean he was literally pretty goddamn loud about it that you could hear him over the movie. That's annoying. Dude, it's fine to laugh at comedies. Now, if you have a loud laugh, whatever. I have a loud laugh. As people might notice, I'm pretty loud myself. But shut the fuck up! Like, you'll have to talk in the fucking movie. We heard the joke. You'll have to repeat it for me to hear it. Jesus Christ. And he was black. Whatever. I've seen white people do the exact same thing to be annoying. And so it's not a white or black thing. But whatever. But this movie, like I said, I kind of feel like I feel bad because I almost maybe not giving this movie enough credit. Although, from what I was watching, it wasn't exactly the funniest movie I've ever seen. It wasn't the worst comedy I've ever seen. It just wasn't the best. You really actually expect a lot more of the people involved. Kevin Hart and Ice Cube were good. I'm not saying they weren't, but they were just, they did what they could with like what they were given. Some jokes worked, some jokes worked, a lot didn't, in my opinion. That's usually the way it goes with bad comedies. I kind of laughed in few and far between. What was I'm trying to think, like, that's the problem. I can't think of the funniest part of the fucking movie. That's pretty bad when you can't think about what was the funniest part of that movie? I can't think off the top of my head. I will say the end credits, that scene at the end credits was kind of funny. The payoff at the barbecue grill was actually pretty funny. I'll give them that. That was actually pretty funny. There's also pretty. I was kind of disappointed that they put Lawrence Fishburne's name in this movie because it kind of came off like that was supposed to be a surprise because he's the villain in this movie because there's like a whole subplot with a gangster that's fucking that wants to take over the streets. It's played by Lawrence Fishburne. It isn't revealed. You don't see his face. You don't see him until the very end, and it's like you kind of tell that was supposed to maybe be a surprise. But I saw his name on the credits, and you're like, yeah, I'm sure that the mysterious bad guy is Lawrence Fishburne. Surprise, surprise, it was. And Lawrence Fishburne's fun in this movie. I like Lawrence Fishburne. I do. I mean, like I said, nothing ragging on the cast at all. It just wasn't as funny as it could have been. Also, this movie is very predictable. I mean, it is a buddy cop comedy. It also has a lot of elements of buddy cop comedies. You can, from early on, you know that somebody is betraying all of them in the police force. There's an informant in the police force, or there's a rat or whatever, and you can tell like early on who the fuck it is. If you watched enough of these fucking movies, you know who it is. And guess what? It's the exact same person I fucking thought it was going to be. Whatever. I mean, although I did like the part where okay, I could name something I liked that was pretty funny. I liked the part where Kevin Hart pretended to be Lawrence Fishburne because they didn't know what Lawrence Fishburne looked like because they only knew his name, and I forget what the hell the goddamn villain in this movie was called, but he pretends to be him. And his lines in this movie, it's like it goes on forever, but it's pretty funny. He has some pretty funny lines. I'm trying to think of what else. I liked the stuff when he was on morphine, and I liked the ending of this movie. It was like the when he was on morphine and seeing like free people or whatever. Like I said, I really am having a hard time thinking like what's my favorite joke in this movie. That should tell you that's the problem with this movie. Is like even though I liked this movie, I can't name one joke that I fucking really liked. That's a problem when you watch a comedy. You should be able to point out some bad comedy. You know the movie's a bad comedy when you can't point something out that was really good. Although this movie wasn't terrible, like I said. Like I said, I don't know. I don't even know if I have any fucking thing else. This is gonna be a shortest review I think I ever did. Because I'm running out of things to talk about. Because this movie there's not much to talk about other than like I said, this movie was not very good or as a comedy. It was just okay. And I kind of would, like I said, if you're a Kevin Hart fan, you're obviously going to be sold on it one way or another. Or Ice Cube fan. At least I would say is rent this movie for like $1 on Redbox. That's pretty much all it's worth. I was like I said, this movie was kind of a disappointment for me. Like I said, Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. I said almost Cuban Gooding Jr. Wow. Ice Cube and Kevin Hart were pretty damn good. They did have good chemistry. I give this movie that. But this movie also was being directed by Tim Story, who, if you don't know who Tim Story is, was a guy who made, I think his claim to fame was making the Fantastic Four movies. So yeah, he did the fucking Garfield movies too, didn't he? Oh fuck, I think I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he directed the Garfield movies. So that should tell you what kind of humor should be in this fucking movie. I was kind of like looking forward to this movie, and then I saw his name was the director. I'm like, oh fuck, like this movie's gonna suck. Then, and I was like, I can understand why this movie's getting a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. This probably would be his best film, actually. My favorite film it is. But yeah, like I said, yeah, rent it on a Redbox. Before I forget, I guess I could talk about trailers. Before I forget, Only a new trailer that I got, 2 new trailers. I did get, I didn't mention this on Devil's Due. With Devil's Due, I got, that freaky new trailer, The Quiet Ones. The hell is that? That looks pretty good. I was like, after I watched it, I was like, that's pretty good. It's like a kind of like, looks like kind of like an Exorcist movie, but with ghosts. As Jared Harris, who, alright, that's gonna be, can't go wrong with Jared Harris. Yeah, that looked pretty freaky. It was like half found footage, and it's based off a true story. It looked like it was trying to be like Conjuring, like based off a true story about these students to try to investigate paranormal activity, stuff like that. It looked pretty freaky. Some of it looked pretty good. It's from the producers. It's from Hammer. Hammer Films is fucking doing another film, and this is they did what Let Me In and Woman in Black, which I didn't love Woman in Black, but I like Let Me In. So maybe this will be good. I'm trying to think oh yeah, and then I got the new trailer for Neighbors, which I think that movie looks fun. I do with Seth Rogen and damn it, what's her name? That chick from Bridesmaids. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anybody can say in the comments. I forgot. It looks pretty funny. It has the movie has Zac Efron, and I think it looks pretty funny. It's pretty amazing. I don't like Zac Efron that much, anyways. I haven't seen him in anything that I've really thought he was good in. Yeah, that's I guess all I got. Sorry, this is a really short review, but I got nothing. I really got nothing. Either a comedy is a good comedy or a bad comedy. This one wasn't that very good. So yeah, there you go. I'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow actually with one more review of Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. I'm hearing good things about it, so maybe it'll be good. So until then, I'll talk to you guys later.